Please subscribe, like and activate the bell if you like the content, so we can continue for more. Give your opinions and suggestions in the comments so that we can develop the channel. Thank you. Period. Larache is a Moroccan city and the capital of the province that bears the same name. It is located in the Tanger-Tétouan Al-Houzimo region, about 85 kilometers from Tangier and 105 kilometers from Tétouan, in the northwest of the country. It is located on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean, on the left bank of the Locust Valley. It has a population of 125,008 people, according to the 2014 census. In its surroundings, on the left bank of the Locust estuary, are the ruins of Lixus, a Phoenician settlement colonized by the Carthaginians after them, before becoming later a Roman colony and part of the province of Tangier in Mauritania. One of the oldest Moroccan cities, it experienced 4 Phoenician, Carthaginian, Roman and Islamic periods, and its strategic location exposed it to Iberian invasions. In addition to its permanent Amazigh character, while the old city of Lixus remains a witness of the grandeur of the period of ancient Moroccan history. The city of Lixus is located 3 kilometers from Larache, on a hill at the entrance of the city to the north, on the banks of the Locust River. The site was chosen by the Phoenicians to facilitate communication across the river leading to the Atlantic Ocean. Period. Then the Romans, who built a group of ancient Moroccan cities, such as Tamuda Tétouan, Lila, the region of Fez, Tangier, etc., succeeded each other in the region. The city of Larache was the subject of several colonial campaigns, as it is considered one of the important and strategic borders of northern Morocco. The kings of Morocco gave it great attention due to its location close to Europe and to repel attacks from Portugal and the Spanish, as their desires were to occupy the city in any way. The Portuguese attempted to occupy it on several occasions, the first in 1489 by building a castle in 1504 and 1508 their attacks were repulsed, and then in 1575 when the army of the King of Portugal launched a campaign to occupy Larache by attacking and occupying it by sea, culminating in the famous Battle of Wadi al-Makhzen and their defeat there. The Spanish colonial period went through several stages through their perception of the city, giving it great importance in their expansion plans. The first began in the year 1607 to 1608, but in vain until it was made to them in the year 1610 by a treaty ceding the city to the Spaniards in exchange for their aid to one of the Saadian kings against his brother, Muhammad al-Sheikh. Their position lasted 80 years, until Moulay Ismail, one of the kings of the Alawite dynasty, liberated it in 1689, but their colonial intentions continued until it was again occupied in 1911 by a naval military landing on its shore. The advantages of the city are that it includes 2 cultures, Moroccan and Spanish, and the specificity of the architecture, the effects of which still exist until now, just like the cities of northern Morocco. In antiquity, Morocco experienced many transformations and changes. The town of Larache witnessed an invasion by the Romans in AD 42, before the fall of the Roman Empire to the Germanic peoples in AD 476, and thereafter. The ancient era lasted about 1,000 years, during which several wars took place, and the events reached their peak in 1337. The ancient era was the era of chivalry and knights, because the knights gave the war the first and last concern knights to lord to king, and they were not united by citizenship, and this is a serious and fatal error in the feudal system. People are not citizens. This permeated the emergence of the modern era at the hands of the Ottoman Turks. Larache is a city known for the greed of the West since antiquity. It is a city with a strategic location and rich in natural resources. The city center, called Tahrir Square, is characterized by the beauty of the buildings made up of the different European engineering schools known at the time, which give it models of the new Moorish architecture, for which Morocco is the main reference, and this is considered as an element of connection with the Old Town. And what is noticeable in these buildings that abound in this square is its exposure to abandonment, and if it is not restored again, it will be threatened with collapse, and one of them was demolished and replaced by a modern building which has nothing to do with this old architecture, as indicated by a website of the city of Larache. As for the market, it includes shops selling vegetables, meat, fish, etc. This market has a distinguished architecture. It is mentioned that the construction of the central market of Larache is a work completed by the Spanish administration at the era of protection in Morocco. Its main stone was laid in 1924. It is a project of the architect Andres Gombas Nadal, and he took it over after him in 1925. The engineer, Leon Orsiz, engineer of the council local business, which introduced modifications, and the construction process ended in 1928, with work starting from that date until today. In terms of urban characteristics, the building occupies an entire space in the Spanish district of Larache, with an area of 60 by 60 meters. This parameter had several problems due to repeated neglect until this building was repaired and restored by the Spanish government of Andalusia following an agreement with the city council of the city. As for the old town, it is distinguished by the old Moroccan style, composed of narrow streets, connected to each other, and adjacent buildings, and homogeneous by its white and blue colors. Its narrow streets have famous gates such as Bab al-Kasbah, Bab al-Bar, Bab al-Qubaybat, Bab al-Madina, and ancient mosques such as the Great Mosque built in the 13th century. It is surrounded by a wall on all sides and adjacent to the forts that surrounded it and protected it from foreign invaders arriving by sea from the Portuguese and Spanish. Any visitor to the town of Larache has no choice but to cling to the building of the Commandancia, said its Hermitage, which was in the middle of a clock, visible from several places in Larache. The Spaniards built on the ruins of the palace of Moulay Ismail, and finally the Spanish used it as the headquarters of the military command during their colonization of the city again after 1911, and made improvements to it, which led them to take it as the headquarters of the military ruler during their occupation of the city. Andalusian, where it has a minaret and Islamic decorations, and this setting suffered sabotage, destroying its famous clock at the top of the silo. It was mentioned that the Spaniards took it with them when they left the city and some of its features, and it was eventually repaired. Fort Al-Qubaybat, located above the headquarters. The old guard overlooking the Atlantic Ocean and the entrance to the Lacas River, which is adjacent to the Qubaybat quarter of the Old City, is considered one of the ancient forts that characterized the city, as Sultan Ahmed al-Mansur ordered the construction of 2 new forts in the 16th century. This castle occupies the place of the Castle of Victory built in medieval times. It took into account the artistic foundations widespread in Italy in the 16th century AD, through its design by an Italian prisoner. It took on several names and was used as a civil hospital in Spanish times until it was neglected as only ruins remained. Al-Fattah Fort, currently known as Burj al-Lukluk, was built thanks to Sultan Ahmed al-Mansur al-Dahabi's victory over the Portuguese in the 16th century AD by council. The Archaeological Museum of the city is a castle built by Sultan Yusuf bin Abdalhak al-Marini, ruler of the Marinid state in 1279 AD. Then the Spaniards used it when they colonized the city as a warehouse, weapons, and place of justice. It contains most of the antiquities that date the city to the period of the Phoenicians, Greeks, Romans, and then to the Islamic period. It was taken as the city's archaeological museum in 1973 and contains artifacts found in the excavations of the site, which makes us discover the civilizations that succeeded each other from the Phoenician era to the Islamic era. Please subscribe, like, and activate the bell if you like the content, so we can continue for more. Give your opinions and suggestions in the comments so that we can develop the channel. Thank you.